Welcome one and all to the third episode of the 100 OCs Challenge, and the first episode that isn't a redesign of a classic monster. Woohoo! You proud of me, Mom? I ain't a one-trick pony no more. As you saw from the title, today we're going to be designing a jungle girl, a common suggestion that comes from Galahound19. And now before we get into the actual character design, I do want to bring up something real quick. In the last two videos, y'all have given me some really good suggestions ranging from simple topics for characters to full-on character descriptions. I've read them all and they're all really cool. Unfortunately, if I were to draw the ones that are full-on character descriptions, I feel that it would take away a little bit from the original part of the original character. And so if you want a chance for your comment to be a topic of one of these videos, you're better off suggesting simple topics such as cyborg werewolf, jungle girl, things like that. Maybe every so often for a special episode, I'll take a full-on character description and draw it, but I don't want to make the whole focus of this challenge drawing character descriptions that were given to me. If you want to see that, I could definitely do another video on that, but the whole point of this challenge is for me to expand my creative thinking and hone my skills in character design, storytelling, and world building. Now, don't get me wrong, I really do appreciate all the suggestions and comments that you've given me, and I do apologize that even through the simple topic ones, I won't be able to get through all of your suggestions, but please don't let that discourage you from continuing to keep suggesting. And even for this particular character, I'm only taking part of Galahound's comment as to keep some creative freedom, for lack of a better word. And also because the pose I ended up doing would have made part of the suggestion impossible to include. Oops. Speaking of posing, you'll notice that even though I did struggle a little bit during the construction phase, I went with a much more dynamic pose for this episode than the previous two. I don't know why exactly, but I just thought it'd be cool to spice things up a little bit. Now, this would be a horrible pose for a character reference sheet, as so many of the body parts are bending and overlapping and are foreshortened, but for a one-time off character, I think it turned out pretty well. There's so much motion to it, and the foreshortening of the hand coming towards the camera is perfect.
It was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
But without further ado, let's learn about today's character. Here we have Politician, a name that was actually a collaborative effort between myself, Knight of Arcane, and Nerd Comics Inc., who I really got to start paying for these name suggestions. But here we go. Once a high-ranking member of the US government, Paula was self-centered and only considered what would be the most profitable for her. During her time in office, she made many enemies, both national and foreign, rich and poor. One day, while she was taking a flight to Brazil, one of the engines on her private jet blew up without warning, sending the aircraft into a spiral. Paula woke up surrounded by tall trees looming over her. She found herself the only survivor of the crash and initially thought herself rather lucky to make it out with relatively minimal injuries. However, she would soon find that her fate wasn't as kind as it seemed. Living such a lavish and privileged lifestyle, Kara was ill-equipped to be stranded alone in the Amazon. For days, she struggled to find food and water, yet refused to eat what she could find as it was disgusting. She came to realize that all her money and riches were worth less than nothing in her new scenario, and the life she'd been living up to that point wouldn't do her much good in death, let alone her current situation. However, the more she tried to come up with a plan to return back to society, the more her stomach churned. She caused so much pain as a politician, but never thought twice about it because she never saw any of the victims of her actions. But she wasn't the only one, and trying to undo any of the nefarious things she participated in would have been nigh impossible. As days turned to weeks, turned to months, Kara got better and better at surviving, making a new life for herself as an inhabitant of the rainforest. Now, design-wise, I wouldn't say that this is my best piece in the series so far. I still really like the way James Lupin looks the best, but I will say this is my favorite story of the three. Frankensurgeon's story was a bit of an afterthought. Cyborg Werewolf, I actually tried to connect to the character, but this one I feel has turned out the best so far. It's got the character motivation, and honestly, the description has a full character arc in it, so it really acts as a short story and a character description. And there were some things in this design that I did that I really do like. For one, and this might not have been the best type of character to try this out with, but I tried going for bigger, more anime eyes for this character, which was inspired by, you guessed it, the starfish face. And while I don't think the wide eyes really fit in with the survival elements of this character, making her tough and rugged, I do like how they look just on a character's face as a potential new element to my own style. Jury's still out on that one though. But it also kind of reminds me of a bit of a tamer version of Kinger's bug eyes that I used for Sean Chiplock's voice actor fusion. But an area that I'm really proud of that I mentioned earlier was the hand foreshortening coming toward the camera and the knife design. I really didn't want to make it just a standard, oh, knife, it's got like a square hilt and whatever. I really wanted to make it a very unique looking weapon. And I love how it turned into this makeshift weapon of combining bones, rock, and metal from Paula's crashed plane, which was totally planned from the start, and I didn't just get lucky that the design and story managed to retroactively work. All joking aside though, that was one of my issues I had when designing this character. Originally, I was going to have Paula be a character that has lived in the jungle since birth and just has been surviving with the animals all her life. But me including actual metal for the blade of her knife and the arm straps really created a bit of an inconsistency. I only managed to tie it all together and make the design work while I was writing this script, and kind of changed what I wanted Paula to be a little bit from the start. Like with Frankensurgeon from the first episode, I kept Paula's color palette very limited, sticking with oranges and browns to connect it more to the natural elements of the jungle. For the most part, I really like this monochromatic palette, though some areas it is a little hard to distinguish clothing from skin. Even after I went in and shifted the color of the clothing a little bit to be lighter than the skin. And one final small note, I definitely think it would have been better if I swapped the facial expressions between the full body and the headshot drawings of Paula. I feel like her swinging, brandishing the knife is much more suited for a harsh, angry face than just a basic scowl. But I do have to say, constantly doing a full body and a headshot, I can feel myself getting better at drawing the same face or character multiple times and having them stay consistent. And honestly, I think you can definitely see a progression with these last 3 videos of the series. The character becoming more consistent between their full body and the headshot as we go on, since I often opt to switch the way the head is facing between the full body and the headshot. That's 3 down and 97 to go. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and thank you Galahound19 for the suggestion. Feel free to leave your own suggestion for possible future topics in the comments below. And before we go, here's a nice carousel of everybody who submitted last week's topic of Cyborg Werewolf. I really like how all these turned out. They're all very creative. And if you want a chance to have your character featured in the next episode, then feel free to draw your rendition of today's topic, being a jungle girl, and either post it to Instagram or X with the hashtag KP100OCS, or you can put it in our Discord channel, linked in the description below. I'm going to try to be better at posting these OCs onto the socials myself so people can tag along from there. And before I leave you for today, just a quick note that all the posters and stickers of all these OCs and all the ones coming down in the future will be available on my Teespring as the episodes come out. Link to that also in the description. Thank you all so much for watching. Feel free to hit the like and subscribe button if you enjoyed the video. My name is KyngPin Creations, and I will see all of you in the next video. Take care, everyone.